How's it going? So I have a new guitar, and just thought I would do a little quick jazz intro lesson, as well as sort of celebrating this new guitar here. It's nothing super pricey or expensive, but it's got a really nice tone. So I guess I'll give you a little backstory. I had an ES-175, a Gibson ES-175, which is, an incredibly nice guitar. Cost me, over a couple $1,000s, right? I think it was like $3,000, something like that. And I wasn't really playing it a lot, so I ended up selling it when I was in grad school at USC, just because I wasn't playing it. I was playing my ES-335 a lot more when I was playing jazz, and part of the reason for that is because it would feed back. It was like a 50s reissue, and the low end was so heavy that it would feed back pretty easily when I would play with a full band. So it wasn't really working for me, and also I wasn't playing it, and I think I needed some cash, whatever. But ever since then, I think that was 4 years ago by this point. Ever since then, I've kind of missed having a jazz box, so to speak. So a jazz box is a term that jazz guitarists use to describe this type of guitar. All right, and this is a hollow body, meaning it's not solid, right, inside. It's hollow inside. My ES-335, my red guitar, which you've probably seen on some of my videos, is semi-hollow, and the body is quite a bit thinner. And that is a more common guitar you'll find in blues, rock, country. But a jazz box generally you'll find mostly in jazz, and it doesn't do as well crossing over to other genres. So anyway, it's really fun to play jazz on a jazz box. So I kind of missed having one. So I was jamming with a friend when I was in California for a month over Christmas break. He's an incredible player, Jordan Samuels, but he came over, we jammed, and he brought this guitar, not this exact guitar, but this model, to jam. And I said, let me play that. It sounds great. And I played it, and I thought, man, what's the price on this thing? And this isn't an advertisement, but he told me $750, and I thought that's great. I'm going to get that. And so this is an Epiphone, kind of. They're modeling it after the ES-175. So this is the Joe Pass. Joe Pass Emperor 2 Pro. Okay, that's the model. Just has a nice sound. And it feels and sounds similar. So I know that it's not as nice as a 175, but it sure sounds nice. So I was kind of picking this up today and starting to play a little more jazz, which is really good for me. I mean, jazz is really good thing to sort of practice. All right. So I was hoping to play a little bit, and also kind of give a little lesson on how to get going with jazz. So why don't I play a little bit for now, while people make their way in. I'm going to catch the second half of the Niners game. Being a NorCal native, thought I would do a quick stream during the halftime. So let's try, I don't know, how about Tune Up? This is a Miles Davis tune. Still getting used to this guitar. So rusty with jazz, my goodness. All right, that was Tune Up by Miles Davis. So people are kind of coming in. Do you want to talk a little bit about how to get going with jazz? I'm happy to, sort of do a brief lesson, nothing super formal. And probably not super organized, but something to, just riff on a little bit. So, hi, Caleb. Oh, that's really nice to hear. Caleb says, I want to thank you for helping me over the months on the guitar. Well, that's really great to hear. It's my pleasure. I'm just thrilled that I can help. Whenever I hear people saying you've helped me on the guitar, it's a really big, massive joy for me, because I've had so much joy and sort of healing and everything that you can imagine that's good from guitar. So when people tell me guitar is, has been great and you've helped me with it, it's a really nice feeling. So thank you, Caleb. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell icon. Welcome to MT Guitar. By the way, check out the Patreon if you'd like to. I'm posting there a lot lately, so it's kind of growing, and some people have said that it's really a smoking deal. So take it from them, not from me, but I'm having a lot of fun growing the content there. So check out the Patreon. For $2 a month, you can join at the lowest level, or $5, $10, or $50. And was wondering if you would ever do lessons on new post-punk. Palm Poco. Well, yeah, I do take requests on the Patreon. Speaking of the Patreon, so I have a sort of a pool that I draw from each month at the $5 level. So you can make a request there. But yeah, I would consider that. I consider all styles. So new post-punk. I'll make a note of that and check that stuff out. Thanks, Caleb. So when we're talking about jazz, really what we want to understand is a few things. One thing is how important improvisation is. So we kind of move on from, yeah, that's a lovely looking jazz guitar. Thanks. Yeah, it really is. So I just was mentioning about it earlier. Under $1,000, sounding great. Kind of fulfilled my jazz needs. And also I'm hoping to record an album. So I wanted a jazz guitar because I have a couple jazz songs that I'm going to be recording. So kind of needed to get this anyway for that album, which I hope to be recording this spring. If not, this spring. That's a realistic goal. So what you want to do with jazz is kind of understand the challenges ahead, right? For one thing, you want to really understand that improvisation is so crucial with jazz. Okay, so as soon as you learn a scale, you want to start improvising with it. So let's say, there's some important scales in jazz. Dorian would be one, right? Learning the Dorian in all positions would be a good start. And instead of just going up and down like I'm doing, we want to start improvising in it as soon as possible. And instead of just improvising randomly, which is good, a good thing to do is sort of just let the ear float for a while around some notes. Another thing you can do is improvise with some sort of story, right? Meaning there was a great, I think it was a Coursera course that Gary Burton, who is a famous jazz vibraphonist, was teaching. And he was talking about you play with good time, you play with good sound or tone, but that's not enough, because you get people tapping their foot and say this feels good, but that's not enough. We need to tell a story with our improvisation. So What I mean by that is if you create a theme or you create a musical idea, can you start messing with that, right? So let's say I have in the key of, for now, C Dorian, right? And I'm going to come up with an idea and start to play with it. That's kind of cool. See? You're still hearing that kind of idea. Okay, let's do another idea. Just something simple like that. 4 notes. Ba-da-ba-ba. One more time. See what I did there? I kind of... I'm taking an idea and I'm moving it up and down the scale, and I'm changing the rhythm slightly. I'm changing the notes slightly. I'm you know. See, so a lot of times it's a rhythmic thing you can jump on. Ba ba da 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 ba da, and I only am playing notes in the D Dorian scale. All right, we got another comment here. Been working on your Sweet Baby James lesson the last few weeks. 65% done. All right. That's great to hear. I truly enjoy doing that. That's a James Taylor song, Sweet Baby James. And man, I've played that for many, many years. But when I teach the lesson, you know, you always learn more when you teach something. So I found some hidden gems in there that when I listened really closely for the lesson. So good luck with that. I'm glad it's going out well. It's going well for you. All right, so hopefully that makes sense about improvisation. We want to create a theme with a scale. Now that's kind of a pattern, and it's similar, right? I can take 4 notes, go up, and then take 4 notes from anywhere and go up. That would be more of a predictable pattern. Okay. Besides Dorian, we would have Mixolydian as another crucial scale. So you'd want to get your Mixolydian scale on all 5 shapes. And Mixolydian is, you know, a major scale with a flat 7. So, you know, same thing there. And then you'd have a B flat major scale, C minor Dorian, F Mixolydian, B flat major. Whoops. And that would be unaltered, you know, nothing too complicated yet, just Dorian, Mixolydian, major. And that creates a 2-5-1. Okay, so that brings me to the next point. If you really want to get started with jazz, which I'm going to make a spiel in a bit about why it's so important, so stick around for that. But if you really want to get good at jazz, you're going to have to deal with 2-5-1. Okay, by far the most common and important progression in jazz. 2-5-1s show up in basically every style you can every song you can imagine, unless it's super modern jazz. But I'm talking about sort of classic jazz. 2-5-1s are everywhere. Okay. So, for instance, I just played a C minor 7 to an F9 or F7 to a B flat major 7. And to do that in every key would be a good exercise. So I'll start with the key of C here. Here's a C major 7 or C major 9. So I would say, all right, I want to get good at 2-5-1s. So you'd comp a D minor 9, for instance, a G7, and a C major 7 or a C major 9. So D minor 9, G7, C major 7. And what if I loop that? I can practice. Oops. Excuse me. I can practice over a 2-5-1. So I'm going to loop this here. now I'm going to play D Dorian, G, Mixolydian, and C major over this. Now I was adding chromatic notes in there, which in jazz is very common. We use passing tones, right? We use passing tones. So like, or neighbor tones or approach tones. So for instance, if I have a D Dorian, okay, I can create passing tones between these notes. So I can say, I can create, instead of just going here, I could go chromatically up. And then I can keep that going to this note. So everything goes in jazz, right? So I went from here, but instead of just going in the scale of D Dorian, I went passing tone. Again, instead of going here, I went chromatic passing tone. So I haven't talked about chromaticism on my channel because it's pretty rare unless we're talking about jazz or bluegrass or classical or flamenco, right? But these are more advanced styles. But generally pop rock, we don't see it. Now in blues, we do see it. We do see passing tones. But blues is kind of the gateway into jazz in many ways. Hey, Uber Jam Sam. Yeah, thanks for the kind words here. Yeah, the guitar is really sounding great, working great, and it's inspiring me. So if I can pass on the inspiration to all of you, then I'll be happy. And I will be doing more jazz on the channel and on the Patreon. Thanks for hitting the thumbs up. Thanks for subscribing and all that jazz. Why don't I play another song? That's something to chew on. There is some tips for improvisation. I've gave you 3 scales, 3 chords: Dorian, Mixolydian, major for now, minor 7, dominant 7, major 7, and then chromaticism. So that is a lot right there. Why don't I play Autumn Leaves? All right. So, you would want to work on Dorian, Mixolydian, and Major to get started. You'd also want to learn some tunes. And some tunes I'd recommend would be one I just played, Autumn Leaves, is a great tune to learn. Blue Bossa would be another one. To learn a bossa. Now, when I say learn a tune, I'm doing a chord melody, and that's a little bit advanced. So what you could do is, basically learn the melody from sheet music or from tablature if you can find it. Generally, jazz is learned through sheet music, but so it might be a good chance to start learning how to read music on guitar. But if not that, you can just learn the melody however you can. So Autumn Leaves, just single notes. Right, and then Blue Bossa, when I was just playing, da ba 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 da 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 da, just the melody, da 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 da. Okay, then you would learn the chords separately, right? Keeping in mind where the melody is. D minor 7, flat 5, G7, C minor. Then I go up to E flat minor 7, A flat 13, D flat major 7, D minor 7 flat 5, G7 flat 13, C minor 7, G7, back to the top. And then you would start to improvise on these tunes by, playing over each chord, playing Dorian over minor for now. There's always other options. Playing Mixolydian over dominant 7 for now, and major scale over the major 7. And minor 7 flat 5, you can play a natural minor with a flat 5. Okay, so those are some ways to get started. So let me pick up where I left off here. We talked about Autumn Leaves, Blue Bossa. There's also some simple modal tunes like Impressions, John Coltrane. Okay, and the reason I mentioned that tune is because there's only 2 chords in the entire tune. It's D minor 7 to E flat minor 7. So Impressions is good. What's that tune I was thinking of earlier? Give me a sec here. Cantaloupe Island. Cantaloupe Island's a super fun Herbie Hancock tune. And you got this little piano riff, but it's basically F minor, D flat 9, D minor 9. That's it. And then back to F minor. Let me loop that. I can't start with that loop because it's not starting on beat 1. That would be the form, so I can hit the looper now and play the melody over it. Practice improvising over it. Next, D flat 7. Basically mixed leading here. D Dorian. Back to F Dorian. Practice a little comping over it. Comping is another word for accompanying or rhythm. Okay, so that would be something I could do for hours if I wanted to. And that's what jazz musicians have done, you know, is basically play over tunes, not necessarily with a looper, but a lot of times along with the original recordings, right? Play along with the greats, so to speak. A lot of times just with a metronome. A lot of times with a backing track, okay, that either, you know, has been created on, you know, say iReal Pro, where it's just MIDI, or it could be a real backing track like Jamie Aebersold. Jamie Aebersold backing tracks, all jazz students will know that. Spent a lot of time playing with those backing tracks. So I'm kind of just trying to open the window, crack the window open on jazz because, man, it was not easy to learn. Probably one of the hardest things I've had to learn on guitar, as well as flamenco. Harder than classical in many ways because the demands of improvisation are intense, right? So this is just meant to be a primer. I'm going to watch the second half of the Niners-Packers game because I am a Bay Area boy. So good to hear from you all and good to see you all. Thanks for hitting the thumbs up and thanks for just being awesome. And, you know, keep on rocking, keep on playing guitar. That's what I'm going to do. I just wanted to show this off. I'm really happy with it. And I'm going to be doing some jazz lessons on this. So look for that. Have yourself a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.